Marian of Marian and Martha. I just wanted to give you a walkthrough tour of the new Virtues Planner that I just released. So here's the cover. It is very thick, strong laminate, so it will last anything. I'm so excited about that. And that's this lovely inside cover. Title page there. So then the first page is just sort of a welcome to the kind of idea behind the Virtues Planner. It's kind of an odd idea, right? Virtue planning, combining planning and growing in virtue. For me, the motivation behind making this planner was that I wanted, I need to plan my days and the tasks that I have, but I wanted them to be even not only contextualized within my faith, but surrounded by the faith and everything oriented towards my growth in my journey with Christ. So this is kind of my way of saying, yes, I have tasks. I'm telling myself every day, yes, I've got these tasks to do. I've got these appointments to make. But the thing I most need to prepare for every day is how am I going to make everything I do count towards getting closer to Christ, and how am I going to make that happen? So obviously this is saying I'm not going to make that happen, but Christ can make it happen in us, and that is kind of the prayer that this planner is trying to make. So here you've got your standard 2019-2020 calendar spread. Here is the I don't know if you can see that well enough. The weekly liturgical calendar, so it's color-coded by ordinary time, Advent, Christmas season is in white, and they've got a little bit of ordinary time. Pre-Lent is kind of light purple. It's hard to see on here, but then go through all the seasons, and the major feasts, solemnities, holy days of obligation are listed here. So you've got your seasons and a little bit of room to write down things that you need to keep, vacation, whatever you need to put. And then because this planner is undated, I wanted it to be more flexible so that you can jump into it whenever you pick it up. You can, if you fall off the wagon, so to speak, of your weekly planning and you want to jump back in, you don't waste pages. You can just date them wherever you're at. So it moves with you instead of you, being a slave to the planner. So then at the beginning, but I wanted to keep the feast, the liturgical year, be able to still keep that. So before all the planning starts, you've got lists for every month of the year from September 2019 to September 2020 of the feasts, the major feasts of both the Novus Ordo and the traditional Latin Mass Roman calendar. So the plan is to add more calendars. That's why you've got traditional Roman. So to have the Eastern Orthodox and all of the beautiful traditions within our church. But so far, this is what we've got. We've got these two main ones: your average Sunday Mass, and then the Latin Mass. So all the way, and then also you've got the devotion for each month. So the devotion for November is for the poor souls in purgatory. You've got All Saints and All Souls. And at the beginning of mine, I added a little tab. I've got these cool little tabs that I've added. So I can always reference and go back to the feast of September, the month I'm at, and then just move it along throughout the year. Yep, so that's the end of that. So it's organized then by the 7 primary virtues of the church in our tradition. So it starts with the 3 theological virtues, faith, hope, and love, or charity, and then it moves on to the 4 cardinal virtues, which we'll get to. So that. And then each month has a flower, which symbolizes it, which you can get into here. So the first one, obviously, is faith. You've got a section from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which addresses faith. The Catechism addresses all the virtues, so it's all just there. The wisdom of the Church is there, ready for us to delve into. Another quote, this one is from Joseph Pieper from his book Faith, Hope, and Love. And then some room for you to write down your thoughts. There's plenty of white space for you to doodle or highlight or do whatever you want to do to make this yours, to make it your journey of faith. So then each month has each virtue has this section. Lord, how are you calling me to grow in faith during the season of my vocation? Because everyone's journey is so different. God is calling us to such different things, with the different crosses, with the different callings we all have. I wanted this to be a section for you to be able to focus on what are you being called to? What is your vocation? Are you a mom? Are you a student? Are you a father? Whatever you want to put in here, unmarried person, whatever applies to you, this is for you to delve into. Like, how is that going to look for you? How is God calling you in what he's given you right now, which might change in the next season as well. So that's the focus there, and then a little kind of encapsulation, right? So you focus down your thoughts even more. And a place to recognize the graces you've been given in the area of faith. What are kind of your strengths in this area? What are ways in which God has made you have a really strong faith, and ways that that's been a gift to you? And then areas needing grace. What are areas in your life that you want to call down God's grace into to grow you in your faith? And that's just some lovely quote here. One of my favorite poems. By Troy Manley Hopkins, and there's something different on every one. So then here's more journaling, space under faith. You can kind of process all that. And then here it gets into the symbolism of each virtue's flower. These are ones that I kind of had to pick. A lot of flowers have kind of Corley love symbolism, like, forgotten and mourning or something like that. So I put them together both with the religious name of the flowers, as well as some of the more traditional Victorian names that you'll hear everywhere, on florist websites and things. And then I brought them together kind of in a way that I was feeling called to make that present to y'all. And then here's the cloud of witness, different people from the Old Testament, New Testament, modern saints, ancient saints, that help exemplify that virtue for us. And then living words, places in the Bible, and in some of the major texts in our tradition and in modern writing, that you can delve more further into this virtue. And then there's a quote, and then you've got sections, kind of the goal planning, growth mentality planning down here, where you can think of ways like, what's something in my life or in my heart that's really, that makes faith hard for me, that makes it more difficult on difficult days. And you can write that down and something practical that you can do to overcome it. Maybe that's saying the rosary. Maybe that's, something else depending on what your tasks are. But that's what you've got. Then within each virtue, so there are 8 weeks per virtue. Research has shown that 6 to 8 weeks is really helpful for making any new habit really become part of us and become really incorporated into ourselves and our lives. So I left room here that you can do 1 month on each virtue. You can do 2 or up to 2 months. So there are 8 weeks given to each virtue, which means there are 2 month spreads before each 4 weeks. Some months are going to be longer than 4 weeks. Some of them are going to be 4 weeks and 3 days. There isn't really a way to do that in a planner like this. So that's why it's got the flexibility. If you're going to disc punch it, you could just take things out and put them back in wherever you want. Or you could just move on to the next virtue if you run out of weekly pages. You don't need to become a slave to the calendars. You can organize your life within the context of something else entirely. So take your pick. So this is all left blank for you. You can write in the month. So I did September. I bought these cute little monthly tabs, and I'm just going to put them on whenever I get to that month. So I'm starting right now in September with faith. So I'd write here, September in 2019, because it's hard to remember the date sometimes. And check back here. What is my devotion for September? The 7 stars. So I'll write that here. And then a place to put down things that you're praying for this month, feasts that you really want to hold. You can go back to this, glance it over, and say, you know what? St. Matthew was really important to our family. So, you write him down here. Make sure you mark his feast day, whatever it works for you. And books you want to read. So, that's a good place to keep track of that. So here, I've started planning here. This is one of the weekly spreads, right? So you've got, like I said, 8 of those, then 4, and then another month, and then 4 more. So this is what, I'm going to spend most of my time in, and which you might as well. So up here, you've got a place to write the month, the year, and which week in the month, I like to keep track of, it's the first week in March, whatever, September. And the devotion again. Up here, there's room for just a prayer to say at the beginning of my day. And then habits that I want to keep. There's a practical habit, reading, and creating. So I'm going to spend at least part of my day, every day, reading something outside of myself, not the internet, creating something that's new. And a practical habit, I need to go to bed, right? So, not very good at that. So, this is where you keep track. Monday I didn't manage that. Tonight, I'm hopeful I will. Right. And then I wanted to start my week on Monday. With the empty days, you have the flexibility to just start whatever day of the week you want. You can start on Sundays or you can start on Mondays. I started on Monday, so I wrote the day and the date across. And then there's this square here, which I am choosing to write in the feast of that week. You can just choose to write down the feast of the saints that are really important to you. You don't have to have it filled with saints that, you might not be celebrating, Saints Cornelius and Cyprian. I don't know. So if you don't want that clue there, you don't have to put it. You can use that for kind of your top focus of the day. You can use it for a prayer that you want to give. Anything that is important to you for that day, something you want to offer that day for, that kind of a thing. And then here you've got kind of an hourly breakdown, so maybe it's easiest to see over here. These are the tasks that I have to do this week, or appointments I have. We're going to go to lunch at my kid's grandma's house. So instead of just having straight up hours, starting at 6, going to 9 p.m., I wanted to make sure that I remembered to contextualize even the hours of my day within the faith. So the church has already done that for us. They pray the Angelus every morning at 6 a.m., every afternoon at 12 o'clock noon, and then again at 6 p.m. Obviously, they do it in the middle of the night as well, but I don't have that here. So those days are punctuated by this little trumpet symbol for the angel Gabriel announcing to Mary. And so, I can try to remember to say that prayer there, or I can just remember, this is how the church is organized our days, with little remembrances of God to bring us back to where we're going and where we come from. So that happens at noon. That's my symbol for noon. And then the cross, of course, for the hour of mercy at 3. So that you can use that to kind of list your appointments for the day. These days I didn't have any appointments, so I just made that my to-do list. Catch up on laundry, lesson plans, meal plan, go get more washi tape for packing up these lovely planners. Those are some of the things I have to do today. So that's there. And then here at the bottom, you've got 3 spots. So you can use that if you want to do meal planning, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or, main meal and sides, or whatever you want to put. You can use that at the end of your day for an examine if you want to do. There's an examine in the back of the book, just like I always do. I've had one of these before. So you've got your daily examine, and it leads you through the steps of that. The things you're thankful for, looking back on your day, things you need to ask forgiveness for, and ways that you can grow. So you could use that, gratitude, a sin, and a way you want to grow tomorrow. Or you could do all gratitude, or whatever you want to do. That space is there for you to do what you want to do with it. Then over here, there's just a blank list. See, it's blank here. And I wrote in, my prayer intentions for the week. So it says Ora Pro Nobis, and then the different things I'm praying for. Here at the bottom, you've got a quote, different one every week with your flowers. And then there's a different reflection question for every week. So since there's 8 weeks per virtue, you've got 8 different reflection questions here. And you can do whichever ones you want. If you only want to focus on faith for 6 weeks, but, you really wanted to do the question that's always on week 8, go ahead. It's your book. So this one is, what is the expression of faith in my life in Christ today, in my vocation and season of service. So that's for you to reflect on and, bring everything that's happening up here back down to purpose of your days and your weeks. So that's pretty much the deal. You've also got hope with the same thing. With every virtue, you've got the same kind of setup. 4 weeks for each that you can use. I tried to make it very flexible so that you can use this to suit your needs. Whether you're a parent or a student or a single adult, or a religious, anything that you need to organize, you need to grow in faith, hope, love, everything. That's here for you. So then, you've got the 3 theological virtues: faith, hope, and charity, and then the 4 cardinal virtues come at the end: prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. So that's just a little preview of what you've got here in the Marian Martha Virtues Plan. Thanks so much.